Our next speaker I'm very excited to be able to introduce. It's Senator Bill Brady, who's the Illinois Senator from the 44th District, and he's a Republican candidate for Illinois Governor. And we're honored to have him here with us today. So ladies and gentlemen, please join us in welcoming Senator Bill Brady, candidate for governor.
Good afternoon. It's great to see you here. Nancy and I are thrilled at the invitation to join you here today as we fight for our country, aren't we? Like you, Nancy and I believe that the footing of this country is held in the Constitution. And there's nothing more important than preserving that Constitution, which is why I supported a resolution in the Illinois Senate and the Illinois House to call on the United States Congress to understand that there's a 10th Amendment to the Constitution, and it's time to take our states' rights back from the Congress. Nancy and I met at Illinois Wesleyan University. I'm from Bloomington, graduate of Bloomington Central Catholic High School. We met at Illinois Wesleyan University, decided that we would get married, raise our family, and build a business throughout Central Illinois. God has blessed us with 3 children, one a nurse in Chicago, another an aspiring law student at DePaul University, and another who's at football practice right now at Bloomington Central Catholic in his senior year. 27 years ago, nearly 28, there were awful great opportunities in this state. We had opportunities to build a business and raise that family. But unfortunately, under the era of Blagojevich and Quinn, many of our citizens don't see those same opportunities. This election is about giving those opportunities back to Illinois families, about making Illinois the greatest state in the nation instead of the punchline on every late night talk show host. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a state that is rich in opportunities and assets. We also have a state that is deep in debt. As most of you know, I'm a businessman. Nancy and I, as I said, started a business. We continue to operate those businesses. And in business, we have to look at balance sheets. If you take a look at Illinois' balance sheet, the liabilities are horrifying. Over $70 billion in unfunded pension obligations. Over $20 billion in bonded indebtedness. And even the Democratic comptroller, Dan Hines, says that we owe over $5 billion to health and human service providers, colleges and universities and schools, to cities and counties. Dan Hines labeled Illinois as being not only the worst state in the nation, but in the worst time of Illinois' history. But we can change that. We believe in Illinois, and we believe in opportunity. Because when you look at the asset side of the balance sheet, what do we find? We find a state that is rooted in a rich agricultural economy based on our soil. We find fuel resources. You know, in addition to our coal, our oil, and our soil, our coal, our oil, and our wind, we have vast opportunities when it comes to energy. In fact, do you know we have more coal reserves by BTU in this state than Saudi Arabia does oil? We've got great infrastructure right of way. Our rail, our river, our road, and our air, more per capita than almost every other state in the nation. Colleges and universities, healthcare institutions, 13 million people. We're still the 5th largest state in the nation in spite of the people that Blagojevich and Quinn have pushed out of this state. And we're still the 18th largest economy in this world as measured by government sector, including the United States and China. And located at the crossroads of this nation's economy, but yet the policies that have been put in place have failed those opportunities. They failed Illinois families. You know, I often say if higher taxes and higher fees, more regulation, more litigation, deficits and debt created jobs, we'd be the #1 job producing state in the nation. But they don't, and we're not. The answers are simple though. Stop the chatter about raising tax rates that kill jobs and start talking about reducing the tax burden on families and businesses to create jobs in Illinois. What do I mean by that? I've called for $1 billion in tax cuts to leave more money in your pockets and to help your employers. Eliminate the sales tax on gas. Do you know we're one of the few states in the nation that double imposes a sales tax on the motor fuel tax on gasoline, making our gas prices some of the highest in this nation. You know what happens? Well, if you're within 20 miles of the border and your car needs gas, you drive to another state and you buy their gas. But you know what? You might not only pay their motor fuel tax, but you're likely to buy bread, beverages, cigarettes, and other things. And you pay their taxes and not ours. You pay their property taxes and not ours. Their income taxes and not ours. And their economy gains and ours suffers because we're overtaxing families and businesses. Eliminate the estate tax penalty. We're one of the few states in the nation. We are one of the few states in the nation that has imposed a state tax penalty on top of other states. What happens? People move. The 700,000 people that we've lost in the last decade have left because Illinois is too expensive a place to live, work, and do business, and we have to stop that. And part of doing that is to stop taxing one of our most precious economic resources, our retiring baby boomers, so we can keep them in Illinois and make it an affordable place for them to live out their retirement years. In addition to tax policy, we've got to stop regulation and bureaucracy. We've lost billions of dollars of capital investment in this state because Illinois is a burdensome state to do business. Roger Keach just talked about Texas. Texas is a business-friendly state. You know what that means? The 700,000 people and jobs that we've lost in the last decade is about the same number of jobs and people that Texas has gained. Bureaucracy and regulation must cease to exist in the manner it is, and as governor of this state, I will blow up the state's bureaucratic systems and create a business-friendly environment so families in Illinois can have jobs. And while we're at it, something that kills businesses, litigation. We have no medical malpractice reform because the Illinois Supreme Court decided that they were smarter than the legislature and they threw medical malpractice reform out. We need to bring medical malpractice reform back to Illinois so we can keep our healthcare providers and doctors and reduce healthcare costs and give you greater access to the best healthcare in this nation. But the fact of the matter is, those jobs are going to take a little while to come back. But they are the way to raise revenues. Pat Quinn says he wants to, well, I'm not sure what he says, but we do know every time he opens his mouth, he wants to raise your taxes. Some days it's 25%, some days it's 33%, some days it's 67%. And that's wrong. You can't raise real sustained revenues by increasing tax rates. But the way to do it is to bring the 700,000 jobs back that we've lost. Do you realize that not only does a job create wealth and a livelihood for a family and a quality of life, but it brings over $4,000 in revenue to the state. That's over $3 billion we've lost to reduce property taxes and do other things that are so important because we've failed to realize the importance of jobs in our state. As I said, it's going to take some time for those jobs to come back. In the meantime, we have to deconstruct and reconstruct state government. They have been spending far too much beyond our means, and as governor of this state, I will reduce spending by no less than a dime on every dollar by rooting out fraud, waste, efficiency, mismanagement, and corruption, and bring real professionals to run state government. Let me tell you something, though. To do that, I've got to let you in on what's been going on. The first executive order I will issue is to work with the Auditor General to ensure that we have a full and comprehensive audit and open up the books so we can know where the money's been going. Let's talk about schools for a minute. Our future is in our children. Unfortunately, our school systems have been failing those children. With the billions of your tax dollars that we've put into the public school system, do you know what we've got to show for it? ACT scores that are approximately 5% lower today than they were 8 years ago. That is a failing system, and it must change, and it will change because we're going to give parents choice in education. What do we mean by choice? Lift the cap on charter schools. Elevate the tuition tax credit for private schools. And where parents want real and meaningful choice because the schools are failing, give them vouchers so they can decide what's best for their children. And you know, not only does competition through parents' choice create better public schools, more efficient, more effective, more cost efficient, but it accomplishes something that's the most important thing to the future of our child's education, and that is parental involvement. It's been proven that if we give parents choice in where their child goes to school, they will become more involved in that child's education, and that is the pathway and key to success of our future, our children. And let me talk about one last thing. The clean break that we all need. I hope you've seen our bus. We had someone donate a bus to us that was wrapped, and we had to come up with a name for it, and we decided the best name for it would be the Clean Break Express. We need a clean break from the machine-style politics of the past in order to put these things in place. Why do I say that? Well, we've got a governor in jail and another one waiting for a jury to return a verdict. We've had several corrupt individuals put behind bars. But I believe that the problem is bigger than just dozens of corrupt individuals. The problem is within the system. You know, Winston Churchill said it best when he said, democracy is the worst form of government, save all the rest. But our democracy can only be the best form of government if we participate, and it is a citizen's democracy and a citizen's legislature. But unfortunately today, state government is an oligarchy. Too few people have far too much control. And they're not going to give it back to us, but we're going to take it. And we're going to take it by imposing term limits and contribution limits and legislative remapping for our interests, not their political fiefdoms. You see, if we take back our government, if we make our schools the finest in this nation, if not the world, we live within our means and we create an environment where businesses can employ people, we can make this the greatest state in the nation. That's why Nancy and I feel it's so important to put ourselves forward in this election. I know you feel the same way, or you wouldn't take time out of your Saturday afternoon to be here. The good news is, every independent poll that's been taken shows that Pat Quinn's wrong and we are right. The bad news is it's August and not November. But that gives us an opportunity to do a little work. We need your help. I hope you'll visit our website, bradyforillinois.com. I hope you'll text Vote Brady 66973. You'll join our campaign to make Illinois proud once again. How many of you here are veterans or related to someone serving our country overseas right now? Would you stand up? Would you stand up? Can we acknowledge them for what they've given? You know, those people standing up have offered the ultimate sacrifice. They have put their life in the line of duty to protect this country. This election is about making sure that this country is something worth protecting. And with your help, we're not only going to tell the people of Illinois, but we're going to show the people of the United States of America that we are a country who believes in democracy, who believes in personal freedom and personal liberties, and we are going to take back our government from the bureaucrats in Washington, D.C. Thank you, and God bless you. Have a great day.